So Killing Bono, let's do that. New film out this week.
So in many ways, you're probably more qualified to talk about this than I am from a factual point of view. This is based on
Apart from the fact I haven't seen it.
No, I can talk about the film on the factual side of it. Okay, so the film is based on a memoir by Neil McCormick, who is now
Daily Telegraph music critic.
Okay, and
he's very good. He's a nice guy. Yeah,
fine. Okay, and so the story and the book that it's based on, I think, is called I Was Bono's Doppelganger, maybe called Killing Bono, I Was Bono's Doppelganger. Essentially, the story is this. 1980s, you have this guy, he's at school, and he's at school with a bunch of people who, it turns out, will be rock stars, because at that point, nobody knows they're going to be rock stars. He's in a band, or he's getting a band together. Along come these other oiks who get their band together, and the other oiks say, we'd like to use your brother in our band. He says, no, you can't have him. You can't have him. He's my brother. He's going to be in my band. And they go, well, he's really good. It doesn't make any difference. You can't have him. He's in my band. What he then doesn't do is tell his brother that the other people actually wanted to take him off and to be in their band. Of course, Bo and Lehold, turns out that the other oiks decide that, in fact, they're going to be huge megastars and change. And in one of those scenes, which it's always difficult to do, you know, rock movies based on real rock history, always have to have the moment.
You're going to do your Doors moment.
No, I won't, because you already know what it is. Shall we hear the chubby moment from Killing Bono? Here we go.
Boys, tell us, where do you see the hype in, say, 5 years' time?
In 5 years, hype will be history.
What? You said that this is what you wanted to do forever, like.
Yeah. It is. So we're changing our names to something good.
Oh?
You're looking at U2.
U2?
U2?
That is so...
Shit.
Thank you, Neil. I didn't want to say it. It sounds like a bleeding submarine.
We're changing our names.
What?
Dave wants to be known as The Edge.
What, like Edge Evans or Dave Edge?
Just The Edge.
The Edge of what?
From now on, he's Bono.
Bono! Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I could be Byro. I could be the head.
What he doesn't say is, from now on, he's Bono Vox, which, correct me if I'm wrong, because I am on a number of things. Bono Vox means good voice, right? Doesn't it?
Well, Vox is certainly voice, and I guess that, yeah, probably right.
But is he
Bono? But I think the Vox has sort of got dropped now.
But he was, but at the point when they were on the bus coming up with that idea, you're going to be the hedge and I'm going to be. He was Bono Vox, right? Which is like calling yourself Fiat Lux or Ford Cortina.
Let there be light.
It is, exactly. I mean, it is on an absurdity level. It is.
Well, yeah, that's what you do when you're kids. You come up with a daft name and you call each other daft names. Edge's mum is called Edge's mum, by the way. The rest of the band say, hi, Edge's mum, and she says hello.
Okay. Bono Vox is one of the silliest names in rock music.
Kind of worked, though, hasn't it?
Apparently so. And so here's the thing with the film. It's Clement and Lafreniere who have written the screenplay, whose comedy tends to be fairly broad. And I think that there's a tension going on all the way through the movie, which is, on the one hand, that there is a true... This is why I'm asking you, because you would know more about this than I would. It is, in inverted commas, based on a true story or inspired by real events. But in the same way as, for example, the film adaptation of How to Win Friends and Influence People, which was, based on a real-life memoir, was obviously a fictionalised version of it. There are the two things going, which is, one of them is the thing that actually happened, and one of them is the things that we have to work into the story in order to make the narrative work, to make it a great, big, exciting, in inverted commas, film. So, in the film, what happens is that, having effectively not told his brother that U2 wanted him to be their guitarist, our central character then leads his brother on this terribly chaotic and massively dysfunctional career as a band struggling to ever get anything right. The great big sword of Damocles hanging over them being that at some point he's going to find out that his brother stopped him from being in U2. And the whole thing, we start with a scene of him apparently contemplating killing Bono, hence the pun of the title. And the whole thing becomes very histrionic, and there are gangsters, and there are police staff, and there's sort of, intrigue, and there's money, and there's all this other stuff going on. Now, it seems to me, and this is why I'm asking you, because I haven't read the original book, it seems to me...
Me neither.
Okay. Well, I'm not
going to be much use to you here.
No.
Try anyway. Carry on. Anytime you like.
I would imagine that at the centre of all this, there is a story which is, I went to school with Bono, I was in a band, he was in a band, my band didn't do very well, his band did very well.
I think that's it. They were the other band at Mount Temple High School.
Okay, fine, okay. And so that would be the sort of the main trajectory of the story. And then what then happens is that in order to make it into an exciting feature film, we have to do all the other stuff, we have to crank everything up to 11. Now, the problem with that is that on some levels this is perfectly well made. I mean, I did go in really, the poster made me squirm a little bit, and I did go in and think, because it's the gaggy poster with people pulling funny faces in the manner, I think, of the cover of, is it meant to be Boy? It's the 4 images of the face.
Yeah, yes, it is the joke from the album.
It is the joke from the album. Okay, fine. And I went in thinking this is going to be cheesy. And also, Killing Bono, I think, is a terrible title for. It's one of those things that sounds cheesy and awful. And in fact, actually, in the way of many sort of homegrown rock picks, there are things about it that it does rather well. I mean, it does seem that when the band are playing terrible gigs, they genuinely look like they're playing terrible gigs. The interrelationship between the brothers in the band that aren't U2 is believably done. The tension between them is believably done. And there is a sense of these really are a struggling band, really trying hard to be quite good, but living in the shadow of another band who did much better than them and never being able to get over the fact that they are not that band. But it seems to me that story is encapsulated just in the simple thing about, we went to school, there were these other people at school, they were really big, we weren't, I was Bono's doppelganger. Where it loses it, and this is why the question about how much of this is true and how much of this is completely artificial. My assumption is that all the more over the top stuff, the gangsters, the guns, the running around action movie stuff, which is very Clement and Lafreniere anyway, is all bolted on after the fact in order to make the story seem more appealing as a sort of mainstream semi-action adventure movie. When in fact it's not that. When it's at its best, it's a film about being in a rubbish band, not doing very well, desperately trying to, crack the pop market, but being a little bit not any good. Because believe me, we've all been there. Where it falls apart is when it tries to tie itself in with the title, with the pun title about Killing Bono. The other thing about it is that clearly U2 must have approved the movie, because they come out of it really well. The guy who plays Bono basically plays Bono as the most decent person you have ever met. I'm not.
Well, maybe he is. Maybe it's only your prejudice that makes you think, well, they must have approved it if they come out of it looking good, because in a normal movie, obviously they'd come out looking idiots.
No, within the general tone of the movie, you can't. It's the movie is it's a brash knockabout comedy in which everybody comes out of it as basically foolish, except for Bono. I mean, he never does.
Maybe he's just greater than all of us.
Oh, that's what it is. That's the thing I hadn't. And that, I think, is the underlying.
We're there.
Yeah, that's the thing, that there's actually nothing very funny about being greater than all of us. And that is an underlying problem, is that there is this sort of sense that at the same time as you're having this satiric, this quite funny film, which is about being in a rubbish band and about being unsuccessful and about desperately trying to crack the market, and none of those things happening, and inter-sibling rivalry and the way people behave to each other on coach tours, all that stuff, which has the smack of truth about it, which is interesting because the original source is written by somebody who's clearly an accomplished writer about, somebody who writes about music, and somewhere in there is a genetic link to a real life. And the point at which it all falls down for me is the point at which it becomes the Clement Lafreniere comedy script about something else. And it did great with me that every time Bono was on screen, the character playing Bono, not actually Bono, obviously, he was just really, 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 really nice the whole time.
Fancy that. That must be so disappointing for you when really you just wanted to...
No, I don't. I'm not. That's not the problem. The problem for me is it's not the... What?
I think that is the problem. I think that really, really is the problem.
Is it? So you're saying that my whole problem with the film is
Bono comes out of it quite well.
I just don't even know where to go with that.
Part of you knows that's true.
It's not true. I just would have liked a little bit of rib tickling, a little bit of prodding, a little bit of, come on, he's Bono. He's the bloke who runs around in leather trousers, calling himself Bono. Bono, for heaven's sake. I mean,
I think we're at the heart of it now.
Okay, fine.